graphing vertical and horizontal lines. Sometimes when you're graphing lines, you encounter lines that only have one variable, x and y only. X or y, I should say. You don't have both x and y in the same equation. So in this case, it's either going to be a vertical line or it's going to be a horizontal line. All right? It's going to be one or the other. All right? It's not going to be both. It can just be one or the other. All right? So I use Vux and Hoy to remember which line it is. All right, so let me tell you what those things mean. So vertical lines are in the form x equals a number and the slope is undefined. So I have my v, I have my u, and I have my x. And those things, they go together. They go together. There's no way to separate those. If you know one piece of that, then you know the other two pieces. For example, if you know the slope is undefined, you know it is a vertical line, and you know it's in the form x equals a number. All right, so the V stands for vertical line. The U is M equals undefined. The slope is undefined. All right, and then that's X equals a number. Now remember, slope is rise over run. So if you have a vertical line, you're rising a bunch. And you're running left and right, none. If the line is vertical, how much does this line run to the right or left? It doesn't. So you're dividing by 0, hence the fact it is undefined if you think about rise over run. So then for horizontal lines, they're in the form y equals a number and the slope is 0. So here you have your, and I'll change to green for this. Here you have your h and your 0, which is the O in Hoy, okay? So the horizontal line, h, right? The slope is 0, m equals 0. And then it's y equals a number. So let's talk about a horizontal line. How much is it rising? None, right? It's 0 for rise over, it's running some number. So 0 over another number is 0, and that's where we get the slope being 0 for a horizontal line. All right? So here, let's graph the following line, y equals 3. Okay, so when we look at it, the first thing we see is we go, oh, wait a minute, there's only a y and no x. Well, if that's the case, it's horizontal, right? Hoy tells me horizontal, and I recognized it because it only had the y. It did not have an x in it. Since it's already in the form y equals a number, we can go straight to graphing it. And in this case, 1 point will suffice because we know the line is horizontal. So if we get 1 point, we just draw a line from left to right horizontal, and boom, we have our graph. So we're going to mark 3 on the y-axis because we know y equals 3, right? We know that. So we come up on our y-axis and we find 3. We go up 3 units here. Now, I know my line's horizontal, but I go up and down to find it because it's on the y-axis. Okay, that's my 3. And then I draw a horizontal line, all right? And don't make fun of my ability to stay on the line or not. I'm going to suggest you extend it beyond the grid and then put arrows on the end of it. Always put arrows on the end of it, but extend it beyond your grid because some of y'all write really neat. So when you write it on a test for your teacher, if you write with a pencil and you write real soft and everything else and you can't see where it is. So make sure you have a good solid line there. Those who write like me won't worry about it. You won't stay on the line, so you just hope your teacher doesn't count off for that. All right, so there's our line, y equals 3. Okay, it's a horizontal line because it was just y equals, and because it was already y equals 3, we just need the 1.3. We can go straight to graphing it, plot that point, and go from there. What about x equals 4? Okay, so x equals 4, again, this only has what in it? X. So this has got to be a vertical line because of Vux, right? Vux, we know it's x equals a number, so therefore we know it's a vertical line. We also know the slope is what? Undefined. I don't have that on here, but we know that, all right? So since it's already in the form x equals a number, we can go straight to graphing it. So guess what we're going to do? We just need what? 1 point, again, because it's a vertical line, and we mark -4. Here's the x-axis, right? We mark -4 on the x-axis, and since it's vertical, that's straight up and down, right? So we have a line that does something like this. And see, there I'm way off the line there, but all right. So we mark x equals -4, and it's a vertical line up and down. Don't forget arrows on the end of it. If you were in my class, I kind of for not putting arrows, all right? So make sure you put those arrows on the end of your line there, all right? What about x minus 1 equals 0? For this one, again, I recognize, hey, there's only an x, but this time it's not x equals a number, right? So again, we recognize, hey, this thing only has x, it's vertical, but since it's not in the form x equals a number, we must solve for x first, and then we can graph it, all right? So how do I solve this for x? Well, let's write down my x minus 1 equals 0, and then I'm going to add 1 to both sides, right? I'm going to add 1 to both sides, so then x equals 1. So now I have it in x equals, and what did I do before? I went to 1 on the x-axis, which is here, and then I did what? I drew a vertical line. Oh, that's way off. I'm going to fix that. It's not great, but anyway. All right, so we're sketching a graph, all right? So there it is. Just make sure you put arrows on the end of it. So it's x equals 1, but don't get confused. It's a vertical line. It goes up and down, right? Up and down. So now for graph the following line, y plus 2 equals 0. So again, we recognize there's only a y here, right? So then this must be what? A horizontal line, right? It's horizontal. It's hoi because it's only got y. But it's not in the form y equals a number. So first we've got to solve for y. We've got to move this over to the other side, this plus 2, right? Before we can graph it. So here, y plus 2 equals 0. We subtract 2 from both sides and we get y equals what? Negative 2. So now we can graph it. We go to y equals negative 2, which is down here, and then we have a horizontal line. So we come in here and we graph this thing straight across my horizontal line here at y equals negative 2, right? So that one required a little bit more work because it was not already y equals. So I hope that this video helps you when you solve or not solve, but graph horizontal and vertical lines. And that's when you only have x or only have y in the equation in your graphing.